The United Nations Secretary-General is demanding Israel leave Syrian territory, accusing it of continuing to violate international law after it moved troops and tanks across the border and launched hundreds of airstrikes into Syria. Middle East correspondent Matthew Doran reports from Majd al-Shams near the Syrian border.
Just a couple of streets over is the fence line between the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights and what was observed for many decades as the Syrian buffer zone within Syrian territory, an area that the Israeli Defence Forces moved into just hours after the fall of the Assad regime, and an area where they continue to operate up until now, a fortnight after those events. There's a significant UN presence in the area, but the Israeli Defence Forces have also moved in, taking control of some key positions in the buffer zone, and also moving into areas further south of here, south of Damascus, the Syrian capital. Locals saying the IDF are preventing farmers from accessing their fields. The IDF insisting it's operating in the area to protect Israel and its citizens. The United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres says that these actions are against the deal that was signed between Israel and Syria back in the 1970s, and that along with extensive airstrikes by Israel into Syrian territory in the last couple of weeks, that it needs to stop.
Some will try to exploit the situation for their own narrow ends, but it is the obligation of the international community to stand with the people of Syria who have suffered so much. Syria's future must be shaped by its people, for its people, with the support of all of us. Let me be clear, there should be no military forces in the area of separation other than UN peacekeepers, period.
One of the Assad regime's key backers, and indeed President Bashar al-Assad's now protector, given he is in Russia, having been granted asylum there, is the Russian President Vladimir Putin. And he has criticised Israel for moving into Syrian territory. Comments which obviously need to be taken with a fairly healthy dose of salt, given Russia's adherence to international law, but which are timely nonetheless.
The main beneficiary of the ongoing events in Syria, the main beneficiary, in my opinion, is Israel. You may have any opinion of what Israel is doing, but Russia condemns the seizure of any Syrian territories. It is obvious. Our position on this issue is not subject to any corrections.
Within Israel's borders, a school just outside of Tel Aviv was hit by the remnants of a missile fired by Houthi rebels in Yemen. Israel insisting it shot the missile out of the sky despite the damage which was sustained. It happened overnight, so no students were present, and Israel had fighter jets in the sky as it was happening, launching its own attacks on ports and energy infrastructure in Yemen.
After Hamas, Hezbollah and the Assad regime in Syria, the Houthis are almost the last one of Iran's axis of evil. They are learning, and will learn the hard way, that whoever harms Israel pays a very heavy price.
Meanwhile, Israeli strikes continue in Gaza too. Local health authorities saying more than 40 Palestinians were killed in the latest round of attacks. The IDF insisting it is targeting Hamas fighters in the territory. Israel continuing to fight wars on multiple fronts, even as the prospect of a ceasefire and hostage deal in Gaza appears to be imminent.